Yo, what's going on, everybody? Xanthos Vice here. We are finally back with some more Witch in the Holy Night. I hope you guys are having a great day. But okay, good. I was honestly wondering how this was going to work into what was it? How exactly was this menu thing going to work with everything else that was kind of going on? But it seems that I was right that it actually will create an actual main loading screen. Because I was thinking, is like, how would me looking for my bookmarks work? Would I have to start the whole story again, and then, like, once I get to the beginning, I go to search bookmark? But that doesn't seem to be the case. It actually has a regular loading screen. So good. I'm glad that's the case. Anyway, first, before we continue with this, let me apologize. I was planning to do a Punishing Gray Raven stream yesterday, but I'll be honest, when I woke up, I was not feeling very well. Like, I don't know, I had some kind of like headache or something, so. Because I was planning to do it earlier in the day, because since it'd just be me in the house, I thought, oh, it'd be a perfect time to do it, because I wouldn't get distracted. I wouldn't have to worry about like AC or any kind of shit, but no, I just wasn't feeling well at the start of the day. I got better later, but by that point I was like, shit, I don't know if I could do it. So I'm gonna try to see if I can find some time next week to do it, because let's see. I think Monday I work from 8 to 2. So maybe I can do a Punching Gray Raven stream after work. Maybe, not likely, but maybe. Hey Twitch Buddy. Hey Yuki, how's it going? I saw that you had a trail stream a while back. I hope you saw that I was there. Great to see you back on the platform again. Probably have a busy schedule and everything, but great to see you, Twitch Buddy. Anyway, where we last left off, we had finally started with the main story of A Witch in the Holy Night. And I have to say, it's kind of an interesting one, because not only is it another female protagonist, which is like, it's good because it's not too commonplace with just like the lucky OC or overpowered protagonist, right? And I really like Aoko. Like, she's actually a very interesting protagonist. She's actually kind of funny, pretty down to earth, and I like it. It really makes it more enjoyable that way, especially since this is supposed to be a more serious plot line, I think. At least from considering how it does kind of like relative to like the Nasu verse and everything. So it's great to see this. Yeah, I was so happy to see you in my stream chat, Twitch. But yeah, I think at the time when I checked it, I was at work, but I was like, hey, I'm not doing anything too busy right now, so I could check it out for a bit. So figured I'd at least stop on by, check in on you. But yeah, where Aoko, we see she's basically in a school, in a more, I don't know if I could say rural setting. I don't know what you would call this, because it's not the big city, but it's not the boonies either. But she's kind of like in the middle ground, kind of like your average school. And also, it's like, this isn't even. I was kind of wondering like if this was like some kind of private school or something. So we were going about how exactly she's going about her life here, but I think there's going to be an anime movie about this game this year, Twitch. Yes, I saw it. I wanted to make sure that I was like, there is going to be a movie about this, but when is it? I think it said November 20th, if I remember correctly, for this year. Because it showed 11/20 on the trailer. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's probably November 20th. But a lot of the text was in Japanese, so I don't know if like that meant the premiere was then, or if they do like a sneak peek or a preview or a prequel movie to that. I don't know. But now that I had that confirmed, now y'all know why I'm trying to continue with this series more than I would for some of the other ones, because I really want to at least get through this game before potentially, who knows, maybe somehow a Tsukihime remake movie would show up or something. But if anything, that's probably more or less likely, because you have a lot of options in different routes, right? Like with Akiha, CL, and our creator, right? if I'm remembering correctly from what I've heard here and there. So I feel like that'd be less likely. But at the very least, if I can at least have general knowledge from this story before, or I mean from this game before the official movie comes out, then I could give my honest thoughts and opinions about stuff. And then who knows, maybe I could do a character tier list for this. Who knows? But yeah, we are basically in a school, or it was supposed to be a school holiday today. Naoko was just basically supposed to be chilling at home, but then she gets a call, that's the student council president, to go help a new student kind of adjust to his new surroundings. But the student is very unusual in the fact that not only is he from the boonies, but he's from the real sticks. Like, no electricity, doesn't even really know what a school is, doesn't know how a classroom works. Like, dude, it's one thing if it's like homeschooling, but it didn't even seem like he had that. So how is he going to adapt to this new situation? I'm honestly kind of curious. Oh, right, and we did get to meet Aoko's roommate, Alice, I think was her name, who does seem to be an actual mage, and Aoko's supposedly trying to become one too, but it seems like she's having her own problems before actually being an official mage, but don't really know too much of the context of that. Hopefully we'll learn that a bit more today. So yeah, that's why I'll be doing this more today. Like I said, there won't be a stream tomorrow. That's why I did my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth stream 2 days ago. And the problem is, I don't know when I do my next stream. I think I'm free Wednesday and Thursday, and those 2 days I can at least stream. So I might do Witch of the Holy Night on one of those 2 days, and Final Fantasy VII again on one of those days. Because again, Tales of Berseria, I do need to grind for mats specifically and for money, so then I can level up our equipment, because that's really my main concern. Our levels are alright, the skills are alright, but I could really do with getting extra bonus skills and enhancing weapons that I do need. So that's why I'm okay with pushing that back a bit more, because again, I do seem to be reaching not the end of the game, but we're definitely starting to head to like real difficult boss territory. And if that's the case, I really do at least need to make some form of preparations for that. So that's why, like, out of all the games that I'm currently doing, I'll probably push that back. And like I said, Monday I finish work at 2 p.m. So maybe I could pull a Punching Gray Raven stream. I don't know. Don't get your hopes up too much, but I'm hoping I can at least do that. But we'll see. And like I said, if we can find some more time, then maybe I can finally start Star Rail, because they do have the new update. They finally do have the fake collab, if I remember today. I actually have to log in and then do my dailies later, because I'll be honest, I haven't done my dailies in a long time, so hopefully I'll be able to do that. But yes, today's main focus will be this. We'll try to get like 2.5 hours. Hopefully that'll be enough. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue. Yeah, tea time. Little happening last night. Okay, wait, do I actually have to... Wait, what? Ah, boy. Okay, give me a second. Let me close it and open it again. I don't know why. I'm still trying to get used to how to use a keyboard and mouse for this. Because again, it's like, I don't feel like I need a controller if I don't have to. So I'm trying to get a bit more used to doing this, especially for a visual novel series. So hopefully I'll be able to do something about that. But yeah, it's going to take a bit of time. So bear with me on this. Oh, okay, yeah, let's just continue. Little happening last night. Right, so I think this is going to tell us Alice's perspective and what she was up to last night. At least that's what I think anyway. I don't know. Because supposedly Aoko and Alice, even though they're both roommates, they live in they go to separate schools and stuff. Like, Alice is at a private girls' school, I think, and Aoko's just in a public school. So yeah, next episode. And again, at least I can do my regular dialogue just as like a narrator, not so much like I had to change the voice too much. Ooh. I had to say, I really like the style of this visual novel. I don't know if this is how all other visual novels go. Oh, okay, we're reading it from his perspective. Suzuki, right? The transfer student. Okay, I was wondering. Oh, okay, so we're gonna see what exactly he's been up to last night. At least I think. Okay. But anyway, like I was saying, it's like the only visual novel I've actually kind of gone through and explored was Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero when I watched Nico B's playthrough of it. And that's basically all I really have. Like, I watched a bit of Rewrite, but that was a long time ago, so I don't really remember the scheme of that. And that's about it. So I don't really have as much extensive of an understanding of a visual novel, but so far I'm really liking how they're doing it here, because also the still frames for like the expressions on some characters, especially Alco, I just really love. So I gotta give props to him.
けど慣れれば割と住みやすいとは思う。
Oh, right, me. My bad. Sojiro sighed listlessly. And also, apologies if I say his name wrong. I'm trying my best to sound it out, but I don't think I'm getting that much of a hang of it. Like, I know it's not Sojiro, it's Sojiro. But it's kind of hard to roll that off the tongue. So I'm gonna try my best to do it, but just bear with me, okay? He looked down at the winter schoolyard below, lost in thought. December was written on the corner of the chalkboard. He couldn't believe 10 days had already passed since he transferred to his school. The last vestiges of autumn had faded with the change of the month. The trees were all but barren, and the ground below them a mat of fallen leaves. The fourth period was classics. An elderly teacher stood at the lectern and rambled on. When he'd finally gotten used to the classroom, he still had a long way to go to get up to speed to his classes. Oh, wow, okay, so we just did a time skip. I'll be honest, I didn't think we would. Well, at least I didn't think this early. I figured it's like we'd actually want to see his behavior and stuff before then, but does not seem to be the case now. Okay. Wonder why. Are we gonna maybe go back in time and then see, like, other people's stuff, like, before this happened and stuff? Or is it just only going to be a progressive one? It's okay, Twitch buddy, do your best. Mess up reading the text too. Yeah, that's true. I guess we all will have a mistake here and there, but I'm just trying to at least give fair warning to people to make sure it's, like, be a bit easy on me. Because, like, some things Japanese I can at least phrase more fluently than others, but not to this extent. Like, even a basic understanding most students learn in their early scholastic life, it was a battle for Sojiro to keep up. Even if he was unable to grasp all the content right away, he at least tried to memorize everything in the hope that he could make use of it down the road. Which is why losing himself in his thoughts was about the last thing he should have been doing. He would normally chastise himself for daydreaming, but... Troublingly, he was unable to concentrate in class today. Sojiro couldn't place the source of his lack of concentration. It couldn't have been the winter in the city. It was much milder than in the mountains. It was his part-time job particularly tiring. He wasn't any more physically fatigued than the average student, so that couldn't have been it either. The only reason I concluded it was because the courses were boring, but that seemed off the mark too. Sojiro did not share his classmates' opinions about their classes. On the contrary, he rather enjoyed his class time. No, his frame of mind was not to blame either. Trying to figure out what was wrong only made him more depressed.
いけない。こんなんじゃ気が散る一方だ。
Right, and this was the other thing I was wondering, is like he has bandages like that seem to go even more than just past his neck, so it's like, what, is he hiding like curse marks or something? Or maybe some practice from wherever he was from? I don't know. He scolded himself and turned his attention to the chalkboard. Rhythmic ticks of the chalk were sending him into a slumber. He somehow managed to resist their lullaby. You know, I have to say, I am at least glad that when I was in school, there wasn't really a teacher that really used a chalkboard. Like, there was probably maybe at most 2 instances that it was a chalkboard, but in most cases it was just a whiteboard. So I'm like, thank God for that. I know I definitely would have been sleeping if it was just a chalkboard. I mean, whiteboard's more silent, but at the same time, it doesn't create like that weird ambience of like boring, you know? Especially since the teacher takes up more time being able to get their words and points across because there's less noise made from the other action that they're doing simultaneously. I can't imagine being stuck in a classroom like that. Like, my god, I probably would have been the first guy to fall asleep in class, unfortunately. I took AP classes, for fuck's sake. It's like, you thought that would have had me tired, but it really didn't at the time. But if it was like in this kind of setting, I can only imagine how many times I would have gotten in trouble falling asleep. And yet he was still unable to focus on the class. Sojiro reflected silently, as was his custom, and sighed inwardly. Deep down, he knew the real source of his agitation. The events of the previous night were the only thing it could be. With the chime to signal the end of class, the teacher bowed and exited into the hallway. See him off, the 30 or so students all stood up from their desks. The clock, which had seemed to slow dramatically around 11:30, now struck noon. The tension seemed to fade from the room all at once. Released from a difficult lesson. It was the start of lunchtime, a highlight of school life. Saki High's cafeteria was not particularly known for its quality of food. I mean, most schools aren't. Complaints that the quality was below that of a private school went unheeded. Well, I mean, duh, it's just a regular high school. Why do you assume that it's going to be the same like as a private school? A private school has more funding. And potentially, depending on how good their sports and other extracurriculars are, sponsors. And the same unique flavors appeared on the menu each and every day. Private school prizes coupled with subpar quality led the majority of students to opt for boxed lunches instead. Sojiro's Class 2C was no exception. The boys muscled as many as 10 desks into what resembled a long dining table. Conversely, the girls divided themselves into smaller tables of 2 or 3 desks with practiced ease, and started chatting with their cliques. Not a single student wasted even a second of their precious lunchtime. Though both sides differed in method, they shared a common goal. Sojiro was struck dumb by the efficiency of the transformation. Even after 10 days, he was unable to keep pace with the rest of the class, and remained seated where he had sat during the previous period.
Oi! Kochiko Shizuki!
The voice came from the large makeshift dining table near the window. Hosuke Konomi was beckoning him over while leaning back in his chair in a way that looked like he could fall backward at any second. He was regularly shot down by others in the class for being lazy and crass, but his earnest nature kept him from getting on anyone's bad side. Though something could be said for not being so forthcoming all the time, too.
飯にしようぜ、飯。俺さ、昨日店の残り物もらいすぎたんだよ。春巻きだよ、春巻き。それを見た親父がさ、もらったもんは残すなってうるさくてさ。食いもん、春巻きしかねえんだわ。
It seemed his end game was to find someone who might take pity on him and trade him for something better. The two of them worked at the same restaurant, so he was one of the few people Sojiro knew before starting school. Oh, okay. Well, that's good at least, because I was gonna say, it's like, it must be really awkward, like, having absolutely no one to talk to, but... Alright, at least if it's from a part-time job, that makes it even more, easier to, be a bit more laid back. It was also the reason Sojiro was able to learn the true meaning of the phrase, can't live with him, can't live without him.
お、いいな。しずきも来いよ。今日は待ちに待った缶詰祭りをすっからさ。
ついに結婚するのかよ。誰か冷静になった方がいいんじゃないのか。
バカ、すげえ楽しいってきっと。そりゃパチモン臭いけど、カニ缶とか食い放題なんだぜ。サバ缶じゃなくて。マジ？やったー！俺も参加する。コンビーフは一人1個？それとも早い者勝ち？お前な、一人で何個も食えるもんじゃねえぞあれ。うまいのは最初の1個だけだって。
しずきたちが来るならノルマは一人7個に下がるのか。助かるな。
ところで木の実の弁当の中身、なんか缶詰より硬そうじゃね？
The boys usually passed the time by making fun of each other's lunches, but today they were united against a common foe. A pyramid of countless cans stood in the middle of a table. It had all been taken from the pantry of a certain student's house, and the expiration dates on them had all been scribbled out with a marker. What the fuck?
よしやろうども各自毎缶きりの用意はいいな食べるも地獄残すも地獄我ら5次元目の授業はないものと恐れぬ修羅となり鉄の悪魔どもを平らげん食材は下町の何でも紹介マーケット中山からの提供です
ヒューバカも休み休みイエーイ
Boys united as one and hoisted the can openers into the air.
ほらしずきも食べようぜ缶切りならまだあるからさ
This is such a strange gathering, like, that the only food they can eat is from metal cans. Wow. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not making fun of the situation, it's just more like the setting that this is taking place in a public school. Or, yeah, in a public school setting, like in a classroom. I don't think I'd ever see that, or imagine that happening in real life.
いや君らの弁当の毒味はごめんだって昨日言ったはずだそれにその缶詰半分以上賞味期限切れてるだろ
なんだよ釣れねえな
Dude, are you serious? You don't know how old that shit is, bro. That's the thing, is like, if I at least know the expiration date, like, if it's like at most just like a day or two, then depending on what it is, it could still be eaten, because again, the difference between Best By and Good Until are completely different things. But if it's crossed out, who knows how fucking long it's been in there? I couldn't do it. Quite an inexplicably excited group of guys. The real motivation seemed to be the spread of pain. Wow. I see that if, like, you're gonna suffer, or if I'm gonna suffer with my terrible lunch, we'll all suffer together. Because I'm Pat. But, moved by their energy and conceding defeat, Sojiro got up from his seat and joined them. Before he could...
じゃあ私たちが釣り上げようかなしずきくんあんなの放っておいて一緒にどう
Another interested party joined the fray. A girl with short but stylish hair had called out to him. She'd also tried to get Sojiro to join the track and field club several days earlier.
いやそっちも遠慮したいなできれば
He answered with a troubled look on his face. On their table was nothing but a pile of fruit Sojiro had never seen before.
なんでパパイヤとか嫌いマンゴーもあるしヤシの実だってあるし内緒だけど夕張メロンもあるんだから
The hell is the last one? Really, you have a coconut? Okay. I mean, a mango I would get. Members of the fruit group pumped their fists in unison at the last delicacy.
待てなんだヤシの実ってあれ食えるもんなの
あマンゴー余ったら回してほしいな
バカ肉食え肉そんなんだから貧弱な体してんだぞお前ら
Sojiro couldn't keep track of all the voices flying across the room.
わかるのはどっちも破滅的だってことだけだ
Smart boy, I respect it. That being said, he found it difficult to refuse them outright. His tendency to accept others' goodwill at face value occasionally left him frozen with indecision. Not accustomed to regular human interaction, he was unable to judge when it was, or was not, appropriate to turn someone down. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's like, there are times when you can say no, but there are some times when it's like, you may rock the boat too much depending on the situation, when it might just be entirely of goodwill and someone may just take that the wrong way, so... Especially with someone who doesn't really like have a normal experience of human interaction, I guess it would be much more difficult to be like, am I saying the right thing? Would it be okay to say this? Someone tapped a lost little lamb on the shoulder.
ほっとけほっとけいちいちここのバカどもに付き合ってちゃ人生台無しだ適当に流しとけばいいんだよほらお前らもな善良な羊を悪の園に引きずり込んでんじゃねえよ
副会長
Sojiro returned to see a boy a head taller than him. His long hair, while unkempt, has been brushed back, and an appealingly windswept look. His attractive features belied the contempt for the classroom his eyes carried. Unlike the perpetually dopey-looking Sojiro, he was an extremely attractive boy capable of captivating anyone, if someone just glanced at him. In most cases, such a boy's presence would be met with awe and respect. However,
なんだよ、副会長様のお出ましかよ。てめえらのバカ顔にはコリゴリだって学食に陣取ってたんじゃなかったのかよ。
へへへ。ここは見ての通り、ボンクラどもが集う貧民街でございますよ。王子はほら、A組の綺麗どころとカフェでお茶でもしてればいいじゃない。
またしずき呼びに来たのかよ。青子女子といい、飛び丸殿下といい、しずきなんかヤバいことしちゃったのか。
wait, what? First Lady Alco? Fuck's that supposed to mean? Oh, what? Is she like that first kind of student council president for them? Well, then again, I guess I don't really know the systems or anything.
しずきくんは校則違反しないじゃん。ちょっとそれ以外のルール破るだけで。
Wait, what?
ってことはやっぱり築地くん、青崎に振られてからそっちに走ったって本当だったのね。
Oh shit, really? He tried to hit on Alco? So, they continued to give him a hard time. Sojiro couldn't help but feel sorry for him. The class vice president, on the other hand, showed absolutely no reaction whatsoever. He glared at them with a bored look and simply raised his voice.
相変わらず無駄に元気があって結構じゃねえかてめえら。そんなに活力たぎってんなら冬季特別清掃班にだって参加できるよな。おい、今んところ自主的に申し出てるのは全校で一人しかいねえんだ。西全員が参加すりゃ俺も青崎も肩の荷が下りるってもんなんだがよ。
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's got quite the accent there. The menacing growl in his voice contrasted greatly with the boy's well-constructed looks. Both Team Can and Team Fruit's words were doused like a fire being smothered. This was partly due to their fear of the boy, but mostly due to their fear of the special winter cleaning team. Yes, the special winter cleaning team. Joining meant spending part of your winter break cleaning up the old school building. Mountainous rear courtyard had been neglected by the previous two student councils. Wait, what? Seriously? Well, then again, it's not like you could say a student can have time to do everything. A student's life is a bit more complex. But you'd have to spend your winter break? Well, then again, like I literally just said a second ago, it'd be hard to find time in your regular school day, so I guess that's the only time you can afford, especially since, from my understanding, when it comes to international schools, their school years are much longer, and their breaks are much shorter, I believe. Because kind of like how we have summer vacation for like a couple months here in the US, I don't think it's the same thing for them. Or internationally. At least I don't think so. It's been a while since I checked what exactly was the timeline for a school year internationally. Because I mean, to be fair, it has been a while since I actually saw what the German school schedule was like. And the same for when I checked for Peru. I need to see what Japan's is like, but again, if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like they have like a lot of break, or at least a decent amount of breaks, but again, they're much more sporadic and scattered to the point where it's not that much like separately, but collectively it's at least enough, I think. It was a form of legalized torture that could potentially ruin 3 whole days of your winter break. Forget about any compensation, a form of extra credits. What? You don't even get extra credits for that? That's outrageous. They should at least put it under volunteer work. Nah, it was pointless volunteer work for a student council project. It was practically a miracle that they had found even a single volunteer.
いや、僕らちょっと体弱いんで、スミッチョで缶詰食べてますね。
私たちも貧血気味で、こうやって果物食べてないと死んじゃうっていうか、冬休みはもう予定いっぱいっていうか。
よし、昼食はやっぱり静かにやらねえとな。1年坊主の教室より2年の教室の方がやかましいなんて苦情 いい加減にしやがれよ、アホども。
Mom meekly scurried away. Sojiro turned to join them. As he did,
あ、お前はこっちだ、宗次郎。ちょい顔貸せ。
hand on his shoulder held him in place.
だよ、生徒会応募。人んちのテーブルマナーまで指図してほしくねえよな。
はあ？上等じゃねえか、木の実。いいぜ。お前が記念すべき2人目だ。冬休み、首を洗って待ってやがれ。
The vice president must have heard everything Konomi said because he gave a thumbs up before figuratively jabbing it in his eye.
はあ？何言ってんですか、あいつ。あれ自主的なイベントじゃん。いくら副会長ったって強制はできないですよね。
そりゃ昨日までの話だ。会長の提案が学校側に受理されてな。本日付で生徒会役員は強制力のある推薦権をもらえたんだよ。
I mean, to be fair, I can see why Alko would push that agenda. Because, I mean, if she has to waste her time after school to do it, she'd obviously want others to do it as well. Plus, the more people join, the sooner she can go home.
特に会長と副会長の推薦は絶対だ。拒否した場合、学校側はともかく、青崎が何するか、俺には止められねえから、そのつもりでな。
げえ、それ事実上の死刑宣告じゃん。生徒会マジ応募。
Konomi's terrified shrieking continued behind him as the vice president Sojiro left the classroom. So what, he's having lunch with the student
お前
council?
も大変だな、
With
宗
the
次郎。
privilege.
あんたも割と暇なんだな、副会長。
Yep, looks as busy as I thought a student council room would look like. If anything, I never even knew who the student council even was for my school, to be honest. I don't think we ever really even talked about it. I mean, to be fair, considering it's like all the other things we had going on for like extracurriculars and stuff, I don't think people even knew one existed. I mean, to be fair, I didn't even know until I watched anime. I'm like, do we even have a student council press? And then next thing I know, it's like, shit, we do. But I just didn't know about it. But then it's like, no one really heard about it. To empty the empty student council room. The Saki High Student Council had the use of 2 rooms. One was a large office specifically made for the student council. The second was an archive room once used as a preparatory office for math courses. As the latter of the two, the walls were lined with densely packed shelves, making an already cramped room seem even more confined. Yeah, seriously. Feels like a prison. For this reason, it served more as a private refuge to the student council. Tobermaru Tsukiji. He was the son of the chairman of Misaki High School and the vice president of the student council. Ah, okay. Like Sojiro, he was in his 2nd year. I first met the transfer student a week earlier with the task of looking after him. Was dumped onto the student council. Ah, yeah, I mean, I kind of figured, right? Because it's like, even the student council president has her own schedule, so she wouldn't be able to look after him all the time. So I was wondering if it was going to fall on the collective of the student council or just her.
副会長はやめろって。クソったれな話だが、俺は所詮会長の犬だからな。
As self-deprecating as his words were, he hardly seemed dissatisfied with the arrangement. Took a snack from his pocket and grimaced at it before taking a bite. The 100-calorie energy bar sacrificed flavor for efficacy. somehow not enough to prevent him gnawing on it like a piece of jerky. Damn.
そうか。でも犬は良くないな、飛び丸。
あ？犬がどうしたって？
犬は良くないって言った。例えが違う気がするし、何より怖いぞ、あれ。
なんだよ。山奥育ちのくせに犬が怖いのか？
そりゃ大抵の生き物は怖いけど、犬は別格だ。徒党を組んだ野犬ほど始末に負えないものはない。足の速さも脅威だけど、何より執念深すぎる。坂だろうと追いかけてくるし、最後の一匹になるまで引かないんだぞ。
Sutro opened his lunch as he spoke. Inside a bright green cloth, 3 beautifully made triangular rice balls.
ショックだ。
ショックって何が？
いや、そんなこの世のものとは思えない握り飯を見たのは初めてだ。思わず絶句しちまった。
それどっちなんだ？
褒めてるんだよ、バカ。
Sutro was always confounded by phrasing that could be interpreted in multiple ways. Euphemisms and subtle sarcasm were often lost on him. It was only on rare occasions like this one that he chose to confirm what was being said. Tamamar had come to suspect that Sojiro had a very black and white way of seeing things.
ところで、その固まった小麦粉みたいなの、美味しいのか？
まずくはねえが、うまくもねえよ。まあ、試してみる分には止めねえが。人間、何事も手間暇惜しむようになっちゃおしまいだぜ。ことが三大欲求ならなおさらだ。
Tabumon quickly finished off his bar, put another one on the table, and grabbed one of Sojiro's rice balls. Sojiro failed to notice the rudeness of the forced exchange and gave the proffered energy bar a try.
なんだか土を食べてるみたいだ。
違いない。遊びをなくせば人生こんなもんだって見本だな。
Out of principle, Sojiro labored over his energy bar, cringing all the while. He was both curious of the unknown and loved to leave something unfinished. Bro, is this for real? Is LeBron James actually a 76er? Sorry, I was just checking out my phone real quick. I'm like, okay, like at least see on like YouTube comments or something, but LeBron a 76er? Yo. Yeah, I say that's interesting, but I mean, to be fair, it's a smart decision by LeBron personally, because I mean, think about how much he can do with the playmaking. Because being the point guard of the team, how many plays he could open up with Embiid, Brown, Edgecombe, and Maxey. Like, come on, there's no better like starting five or like starting 5 and 6 man that he could team up with to be able to get efficient scoring. And like, yeah, I get it. Like, LeBron should go to Cleveland because it's home. But dude, let's be honest. LeBron wants to compete too, like at least on a decent level. Let's be honest, there's too much drama and too much ridiculousness going on in Cleveland to go about it. Like, for people saying, oh, James Harden's just a choker, and like Donovan Mitchell not really offering too much on the table except for scoring, but if you can't even do that at an efficient level, then what the fuck are y'all even doing? And like I said, they're too small of a team to compete with the best, okay? San Antonio has Victor Wembanyama, OKC has Hardenstein and what's it called? Chad Holmgren. The Timberwolves have Rudy Gobert, and the Nuggets have Jokic, and any of those could be championship contenders, depending on how they finish off this offseason. And it's like, you expect this small-ass Cleveland team to make it to the finals in the East, but the way it is right now, to then have to face one of them? Nah, that doesn't make sense personally. Like, it really doesn't. Like, look at it. Miami, they have Giannis and Bam. You're not beating that front court. I'm sorry, Cleveland, but you're not. The Celtics, I mean, they at least got Mitchell Robinson now on the team, so it's going to be much harder to get past them, especially with Jason Tatum on the floor, too. It's like, they don't have anyone to stop Tatum, personally. I mean, Mobley can at least maybe give him a bit of a challenge, but Jason Tatum's just too elite to be guarded like that. At least not at that level. And again, Cleveland hasn't really come up with a solution for stopping Jalen Brunson either, so even if somehow they get LeBron, it's like, sure, you cancel out Jalen Brunson, if that would even be somehow possible, but if you do, what about Cat? What about Hart? What about the bench? You're not really solving that issue anyway, and again, it's the same thing. It's like, you don't really have a great bench. Because otherwise you would have had more guys providing for the team when James Harden was not slacking, but when he wasn't performing to the best of his abilities. And at least Philly, like I said,
今無理に平らげる必要はねえぞ。そいつの利点は携帯食ってところだからな。素で味気ないが、食えるうちは味が落ちないのがいいところだ。
I did not mean to press that. I accidentally slipped my arm onto it because I'm putting my keyboard on my lap because I don't want to catch all the ticks on the mic. But anyway, like I was saying, it's like, at the very least, you could have like Edgecombe come off the bench if you need like as a backup 6-man. And again, they also just signed Anthony Simons too, so they have at least a good enough depth that's like they're a playoff contending team both in the starting lineup and the bench. So if all that, it's like, how could you pass that up? Seriously. Because again, it's like, you at least know some of these guys, they're real competitors. Tyrese Maxey is a scorer. Edgecombe, third in Rookie of the Year voting. And Brown, a former Finals MVP. And had one of his better seasons this past season. But clearly these are the guys who are serious about trying to be the best. Like some other teams where it's like they're not recognizing the problems or really addressing it. And again, would you want to go play for a coach who loses that badly to the Knicks and he's like, analytically, we won? Like, you really want to play for a coach like that? Nah. Tell me confidently that you're going to play for a coach like that where you basically get swept and your coach is saying, no, by the numbers, we won. So I don't think the Knicks are better than us, even though they did move on to the finals, even though they didn't win a championship. Like, fuck no. Why would you? Anyway, that's enough of irrelevant stuff. I was just excited because, like, seeing that potentially LeBron has actually joined Philadelphia, it's just like, things are finally getting interesting in the East again. Alongside with the Giannis move.
まあそっちはともかく。どうだ、少しは慣れたか？
ああ、飛丸や青崎が気を使ってくれているからね。
Tobimaro turned his eyes up to the ceiling, unable to handle Sojiro's carefree smile. As absent-minded as Sojiro might have been, his expressions were nonetheless incredibly earnest. It was like poison to someone as self-absorbed as Tobimaro.
だから青崎は来ねえんだよな。いや待て、気を使ってんのは俺だけじゃねえか。青崎なんてお前が転入した日に彼迷惑だから見張ってての一言だけだぞ。
なんでそこで君が怒るんだ？
いや、だからだな。お前が学校になれるよう陰ながら見守ってんのは俺で、青崎は生徒会室で全校生徒の弱みを集めてるだけって話だ。面倒な苦労してんのは俺だけじゃねえかって。
Tobimaro stopped himself, realizing how ridiculous he sounded. Sojiro, rightfully so, knew it was nothing to get this upset over.
いいさ。青崎に言いつけられなきゃこうなることもなかったしな。知ってるか？あいつどうして俺にこんな役させたと思う？
副会長だからだろ。
あのな、どうして副会長が転入生一人にかかりっきりにならなくちゃいけねえんだよ。いいぜ。機会があったら青崎本人に聞いてみな。あいつの本性がわかるからよ。そして何よりこの塩加減、中の具から染み出した厳妙な醤油加減はどうだ。食欲をそそるどころか脳を食欲だけにするような。おお。
飛び丸、思ってることが口に出てるみたいだけど。
あ、いや、それほどのショックだったってわけだ。なあ、その字。これ具は何だ
？It was only natural to inquire about the unexpectedly delicious bite. He'd been nibbling around the edges and not yet reached its center.
ああ、それはイナゴ。
ありえねえ。
The vice president choked on his cough. He had assumed that Sojiro would prefer earthly ingredients instead of seafood on account of his mountain life. Never expected he would use grasshoppers. Wait, what? Is he serious? Well, then again, I guess he's not really much of a jokester, is he?
くそ、食う前に言えよな。信じられねえぐらいうまいと思っちまったじゃねえか。
ああ、今のは嘘だよ。
Oh, okay. Damn. Wow. I didn't think you for a jokester. Hey, I mean, I respect it. Locked eyes for a moment.
本当は鮭。
Oh, okay.
いくらなんでもイナゴはね。
Okay, good. If anything, we were gonna have a whole ethics problem.
おお、そうだよな。いや、安心した。いくらなんでもイナゴはねえよな。
ああ、こんな都会で身の締まったイナゴが手に入るもんか。
Oh yeah, because I guess this would have been before that whole like vegetarian craze where it's like you can eat insects or like other kinds of things as like substitutes for other stuff, right? Yeah, I guess it would make sense. As curious as those words were, Tomorrow decided to let them go. Yeah, better not to poke the bear.
たく、 どっちにしても冗談きついぜ。危うく吐き出すところだったじゃねえか。
I know if it
らしく
was.
ねえぞ、宗次郎。
Let's be honest. We know if it's Aoko, she would have thrown him out the window and she wouldn't have cared what happened after.
君が青崎の悪口を言うからだ。
Huh? What was that? Sojiro closed his eyes as he continued to chew in his face. Sojiro? You're not gonna tell me what I think I'm thinking, are you? Topamaro watched incredulously as Sojiro made no attempt to hide his disapproval.
おい、今のはさすがに聞き捨てならねえぞ。俺が青崎の悪口を言ったから意種返しをしたと、そういうことか？
Yeah, what's that about? I want to know more about this. Come on. Country boy's silent protest said all that needed to be said. The vice president suddenly looked like he had been struck by lightning.
なんてこった。お前、まさか青崎に惚れてんのか？そうなのか？そうなんだな。おい、眠ってねえで起きろ。
More flew out of his chair and violently shook Sojiro by the shoulders. Sojiro opened his eyes.
そうか。お前は1年前の惨劇を知らないんだな。
Wait, what? Is this why they call her Her Highness?
知ってりゃ、そんなストレートな破滅願望を持つこともなかったろうに。
Ooh.
君の言葉には誤解が含まれてるけど、それは後にする。それより、1年前の惨劇って？
I don't know why. I just really like this face Sojiro's got on it. It kind of makes him look like a koala, you know? Or is it just me? I don't know, but it's just so funny. Then again, they always know how to kind of make like chippy-esque funny faces on characters in the Nasuverse, so guess they're using their talents correctly. That's for sure. Yeah, give us the deets. What's the lore?
仕方ねえ。この手の噂をするのは好きじゃねえんだけどな。
Ooh. Tomomaru reassured himself that it was in Sojiro's best interest as a young man to know. Ooh, goody.
あれ
Story time.
は青崎がまだ1年の頃の話だ。
Ah, okay, so straight from the get-go.
あの頃はみんな入学したばっかりで、青崎がどんな性格か誰も知らなかった。
Fair.
あいつ、外見は文句なしに美人だからな。
I mean, he's not wrong, because even I have to admit, she's very pretty.
そりゃ男どもは狂気乱舞したもんさ。
Little did they know that soon after they would go crazy for an entirely different reason.
4月5月はもう上を下への大騒ぎだよ。
Wait, what? Was like everyone like being on the lookout for each other, like who's gonna make the first move?
あの時ばかりは上級生も下級生もなかったな。野郎同士の牽制、共闘、果ては決闘まで。まあよくも騒いだもんさ。
Ah, I
青崎
see.
に近寄るだけでも大変だったんだぜ。
You know what? Fair. It's like she doesn't even have to put in a Ojo-sama ad. She just already is one just by definition. That's crazy.
なんでそんなよくわからない事態になるんだ？
そりゃ青崎は一人きり、命知らずな野郎は延べ100人ほどいたからだよ。一人一人青崎とランチしても3ヶ月かかるだろ。だからまずは男同士でつまんねえ暗闘があったのさ。まあいい。わからねえならそこは飛ばそう。所詮負け犬どもの話だしな。本筋にはなりえねえ。でな、そんなどうでもいい戦いを勝ち残った奴らは列なしで1年の女に言い寄ったわけだ。青崎はあれで、なんていうか、相手のなけなしの誠意じゃなくてあれか、勇気、そういうのを無視できずに 認めちまうやつだからな。言い寄ってくる相手を可能な限り丁寧に断ってた。
Yeah, because I mean, to be fair, she doesn't want to make too many waves that it's like it bothers her from her own like comfort. That's the thing. She doesn't want there to be like too much backlash that it's like there'd be more times to have to deal with this problem.
が中にはそれで勘違いしちまうやつもいてよ。
Oh boy.
3年のある野郎がこれは脈ありと見て青崎に何度も言い寄ったんだよ。
Damn, seriously? Third year?
多分そいつは頭がおかしかったんだ。今にして思うとそうとしか思えん。
Incidentally, Tobimaru decided to gloss over the fact that the student was also the former student council president. Ah, I see. So he probably thought he had the best chance because like he had qualifications. At least that's probably what he put for himself.
学園ばかりか。青崎の家まで押しかけたそうでな。あまりにしつこいんで青崎も堪忍袋の尾が切れたんだろう。
Well,
ちょっと口にするのははばかられる方法で振ったんだよ。
I mean, duh. If anything, he probably deserves it then. Cause dude, you can't be doing that shit. Like, you're already like going too far, just continuing to go after the same girl after she's already clearly denied your feelings. Like, you decide to go like full creep mode? Nah, man. That's never the answer. Absolutely not. Especially Aosaki, bro. Yeah, she definitely wouldn't keep to herself anymore. She definitely has like a fine line to like just like blowing the lid.
結果そいつは自分から他校に転入希望したばかりか三崎町からも逃げ出しちまって。
Seriously?
青崎も1ヶ月ばかり自宅謹慎を食らった。
Really? She was dude. Like, look, I'm not saying that she should get away with hurting another student, especially since it's student council president, but with the circumstances, like, come on. But then again, I guess this is just kind of hearsay and no one else was there to prove it, but come on.
世に言う血の公会堂事件だ。詳しく知りたけりゃ本人はまずいな。新聞部にでも行け。あそこの部長は命知らずだから聞けば面白がって教えてくれる。
飛び丸、その具体的な表現を恋に避けてないか。
仕方ねえだろ。理事長の息子だろうがなんだろうが怖いものは怖えし、高校ぐらいは無事卒業しとかねえとな。うちの女子の制服見るたびに規制を上げるトラウマなんて持ちたくねえよ。まあいい。それよりなんで青崎なんかがいいんだよ、宗次郎。おい、お前、本当に青崎が好きなのか？単に胸がドキドキ言ってるだけなら、それは恋じゃなくて恐怖だってオチもあるぜ。いくらその字がぼんやりでも、理由ってもんがあるだろう。
What Tobimaru was saying sounded odd, but Sojiro decided not to press the matter. All the more because he found many of his own emotions towards Aoko Aosaki to be incomprehensible.
そうだな、おかしい。俺はあまり彼女を知らないのにね。
Right, because there was that one moment where they locked eyes with each other for a bit, but it's like they didn't really understand why. That was because they had not truly spoken to each other since the day she showed him around. Every time Sojiro tried to talk to her, she immediately got up and left. As fate would have it, they ended up working together that recent Sunday, but made only idle chatter on the way back.
けど飛び丸、君は知らないだけなんだ。時々なんだが、誰かの視線を感じて振り返ってみると、いつ失敗するかを心配して見ている人がいる。飛び丸の言う通り、ただ廊下で俺を見かけて単に監視していただけなのかもしれない。本当は俺のことなんて気にせず素通りしたいのかもしれない。けどどんな種類であれ、彼女の心配は本物だ。それにここが一番大事だと思うんだけど、実際の話、青崎のそういうところのおかげで俺は助かっていたりするんだ。
If not for those words, he could have introduced Sojiro to a more suitable girl with whom he could have lived out the rest of his high school days with. He never went to such lengths for his other friends. Generally speaking, if it was of some benefit to him, he was unafraid of exploding another. If they were no use, he didn't bother getting involved with them. That was how Tobimaru Tsukichi operated. Sojiro happened to be the type of person who provided no benefit to Tobimaru. It somehow sparked in him a desire to help. It was not that friendship was completely alien to him. He just didn't have many people he felt that close to. So if Sojiro had really fallen for Aoko, it wasn't his place, as a friend, to try and change his mind.
やれやれ。結局、惚れてるやつには理由なんていらねえんだな。
そんなことはない。理由なら一つある。彼女を一目見たときに綺麗だなって思ったぞ。
ん？なんだ？あんだけ恥ずかしいセリフ言っといて、要は外見に惚れてますな。結局見てくれかよ、宗十郎。
綺麗なものに見とれるのはいいことじゃないのか？自分を綺麗に見せる努力をしているんだから、外見から内面を判断するのはそんなおかしな話じゃないと思う。
It sounded like a sophism to Tobimaru, but he had no counterpoint to offer.
しょうがねえ。わかったよ。この話はもうやめよう。その字が誰をてめえの女にするか。
Now, Tobimaru was mistaken about one major point during this whole conversation. Namely, that Sojiro was not head over heels in love with Aoko, and hoped to go steady with her. He merely liked her as a person. Nobody could have foreseen the massive calamity that would be caused by this simple misunderstanding. Wait, what? Oh god.
だがよ、一つだけ忠告しておくぜ、宗十郎。青崎は喧嘩をした相手だろうと別に嫌うわけじゃない。逆に言えば親切にしたって別に好かれるわけでもない。いい例が俺だ。
Spoke where pain sighs of opening old wounds from the past.
そうか、詳しく。
おう、昔な、あいつがあんまりに独善的だったんで、つい手を挙げかけちまったことがある。半年前の夏だ。1年もあいつと生徒会やってたもんだから、俺も女っつうより戦友って気になっててな。つい勢いで平手打ちをしようと右手を上げた。我ながら4番バッターも角也という腰のひねり。確かな実感とともに俺は勝利を確信したもんさ。
a distant look in his eyes as his words trailed off.
翌日になってこりゃ完全に敵扱いされたなと覚悟して生徒会室に行ってみりゃ青崎はいつも通りだった。で以来あいつと俺は会長と副会長で収まってる。
Sojo's side of the story, then said with absolute confidence.
今の話を総合すると、君は単にのろけたいのか？
That's what you took from this story? Clearly, he had missed the point entirely.
なわけあるか今の話のどこに甘酸っぱい要素があんだよ。
Yeah, dude, come on. You don't know. I mean, I guess I can kind of understand you didn't read between the lines, but it's like, with only that much context, there's only one conclusion you can kind of go to when he talked about the first point before the story.
俺としちゃあいつを女として見なくなった決定的な事件だったんだがね。
なんだ、違うのか？
Look at disappointment flitted across Sojo's face. Tomorrow revised his opinion. Sojo was something of a simpleton, but there was a quality to him that Tomorrow couldn't quite place.
とにかくだ。俺が言いたいのは青崎青子の好き嫌いの基準ってのは普通じゃないってことだ。いいことをすれば好かれる、気に入らないことをすれば嫌われるってわけじゃねえんだよ、あのお姫様は。
もう君からの話はないか？
あ？初めからねえよ、そんなの。
ん？
Why had Tomorrow even brought him here in the first place? Sojo tilted his head in wonder, but shook it off to deal with the more pressing matters at hand.
よし。じゃあもう少し付き合ってくれ。飛び丸に聞きたいことがあったんだ。
ん？
Tomorrow sat up straight, having never seen Sojo's face look so serious before. Sojo set aside his rice ball and cleared his throat.
実は昨日、こんなことがあって。
Ah, okay, good. So this is the last night we're talking about. Okay, so yeah, it's just basically a time skip from then. Sure. He spoke solemnly. And as carefully as possible, he recounted what had occurred the night before. I had to wonder, how many chapters is this? Because to be fair, we got through practically a whole chapter in the last stream. But then again, I guess not all chapters would be the same length. So maybe that's not necessarily the case. Because, I mean, to be fair, when it comes to main story chapters and floating records and PGR, it's not always the same either. And even if there's not many parts, those parts can be pretty long. Like, that peak story where Alpha, that took forever. But I mean, to be fair, it was amazing storytelling. It was 10 to 12, and lunchtime was quickly coming to an end. Face bump in the Class C as lively as ever. As if it were an everyday occurrence. Alka Aozaki announced her presence. While Alka wasn't part of Class C, she didn't let it bother her as she casually entered the classroom. In contrast, the baby birds who had been so noisily chirping while eating lunch quickly quieted and began to rearrange their seeds.
どういう意味よそれ。
She bristled internally before looking around the room. Well, I mean, come on! She couldn't see the male student she had come here to find. He hardly stood out, so she thought he might be hidden in a corner somewhere, but that appeared to not be the case.
有里くん、出席番号12番のしずきくんは？
俺？しずきならさっき飛び丸殿下が連れて行ったよ。
One might think that the reason students referred to Tobimaro Tsukiji by a royal title was because he was the chairman's son. It was because he actually acted like royalty. Oh, okay. No. So this is taking place today, in the present. But to Tobimaro, he's talking to him about the past. Or yesterday. But this is still the present. Okay. I was kind of confused. Because I'm like, what? This happened yesterday? But nah, this might actually just be the present. In fact, the vice president was said to have taken a liking to the title.
飛び丸があいつしずきくんと仲いいの？
She seemed surprised. Class seemed surprised at her surprise.
いいも悪いも築地くんが男子と仲良く話してるのって今まで見たことなかったよ、私たち。あ、木の実くんはバカだから別だけど。
そうだよな。初めは殿下もあんまり話してなかったけど、3日もしたら楽しそうに口喧嘩してたもんな。ま、しずき相手に突っ張っても仕方ないじゃん。あいつ変だけどいいやつだし。
そうよね。いい人だもんね、宗十郎くん。
Having recomposed themselves, Class C started chanting again. Uncle listened for a bit before turning around and leaving the class with a later. All the Sojuro talk finished as quickly as it had started. Lunchtime was coming to a close in the student council room. Sojuro, having told his story, was smiling in satisfaction. Tobimaro, still sitting across from him, was frowning.
さあ、感想を聞かせてくれ。
Yeah, okay, so yeah, this is different. Sojuro told his yarn as best he could. Tobimaro fingered his brow as if he was angry or concerned.
なあ、その字。お前、人をバカにできるほど器用なやつじゃねえよな。
失礼な。器用な方だぞ、俺は。
His response only confirmed Tobimaru's suspicions. It had to be one of two possible conclusions. That what Sojuro had just told him was true, or that Sojuro was so tired that he must have been hallucinating at the time. Tobimaru sincerely hoped it was the latter.
宗十郎、率直に言って、俺はお前が気に入っている。嘘のない人間なんてのは人間じゃねえ。俺は人間嫌いだからそんなお前さんが気に入ってたりするんだが、そんなやつまで馬鹿げたことを言い出したら、俺は明日から何を頼りに昼飯を食えばいいんだ。
学食で食べればいいんじゃないか。
わかった。はっきり言おう。それは幻覚だ。幽霊の正体見たり枯れ尾花ってやつだろうさ。それでも納得いかないってんなら、いい精神科を紹介してやる。
それが君の感想か。よし、ならいいんだ。そりゃ俺だって神隠しの類だと思ったよ。けど都会じゃもしかしてそれもありなのかもしれないだろ。確かめたかったのはそこなんだ。
おい、すると何か？ お前は都会の人間は口から火を吹いたり腕が伸びたりするのが普通だと思ったのか？
まあ普通じゃないけど特別でもないんじゃないかと思ったんだ。
That's funny. What, is that supposed to be like a fairy tale and One Piece reference?
ここは山にないものが溢れている何でもありの場所だ。だからそれぐらいやってのける人だってもしかしているのかなと。
That his face was as serious as it was made, Tobimaro realized just how much big a culture shock Sojiro must have been experiencing. Living up in the mountains with no electricity. In a place where the night sky was as it always had been. Where humans were just one more organism in nature's garden. Makes sense that those conditions would create a boy like him. The idea of children growing up so pure was an appealing one. But maybe it was natural to forego civilization when your population was so small. Perhaps it was so simple, or that excessive knowledge was deemed irrelevant. It's precisely because city life offered him so much that was impossible up till now that he had come to the conclusion that anything was possible here.
安心しろ。確かにこっちにはたちの悪い奴らばっかりだけどな。そんな魔法使いみたいな奴はいねえよ。
そうだといいんだけど。
But Sojiro seemed unsure, and on Tobimaru's part, there were things to Sojiro's story that he found hard to swallow. Whether true or not, the incident Sojiro had described was disturbing.
まあ、事の真偽というか、どんな間違いでそう見えたかは置いておいてだ。結果だけ見れば、うちの生徒が夜の公園で人を殺したってことになる。しかも双方を控えめに表現しても普通じゃねえ。
As a newcomer to town, Sojiro assumed that everyone his age was a student at this school. For better or worse, he was right.
一人は火炎放射器を持って、もう一人は、まあなんだ、なぎなたでも持ち出したのか、刃物らしきものが何メートルも伸びたときた。
Sojiro bobbed his head up and down as he listened to the disbelief in Tobimaru's voice. Hearing it repeated by someone else, he could see how someone might think he was taking them for a ride.
正気を疑うな。尋常じゃないぞその話。
宗十郎、お前実は俺をからかってんだろ。
いや全く。けどまあ都会にはそんな人間はいないんだろ。なら飛び丸の言う通り夢でも見てたんだ。ここのところアルバイトと試験が重なって辛くて。
Winter break was just around the corner. The end of the term exams were but a week away. Both were proving formidable opponents for Sojiro.
俺は基本ができてないから人の倍程度の勉強じゃ追いつけない。ほら勉強ばかりしているとノイローゼをするんだろ。
そりゃするんじゃなくてなるものだが、まあ何にせよやりすぎ飲みすぎはよくねえわな。試験前ぐらいはバイト減らしたらどうだ？
減らしてはいるんだけどね。年末ってアルバイトを休む人も多くて、その代行も頼まれがちだし。
He shrugged helplessly. It was obvious from his words that he had been busy. Even if he wasn't going crazy, lack of sleep could have caused him to daydream. Even if this did all go down in the middle of the night.
なんだか大変そうだな、宗十郎。
ああ、実はかなり参ってる。都会の暮らしは深刻だ。
Sujiro nodded with a pained look on his face. What was strange, however, was that he did not look the least bit tired.
泣き言言わねえのは感心するけどな。お前、新郎は顔に出ないたちか？
そりゃ、新郎はどこも痛まないからね。
As he answered, Sujiro looked up at the clock on the wall. Lunchtime was almost over.
飛び丸、時間だ。
ああ、もうそんなに経ったか。気にせず先に行ってていいぜ。俺はまだ用があるからよ。
Sujiro watched as Tobimaro made a gesture that seemed to lament the life of a student council member. His eyes looked as if they were looking at a piece of art and not understanding its value.
授業をサボれる身分っていうのは羨ましいな。そういうの、飛び丸が嫌いな手抜きじゃないのか？
そりゃ誤解も甚だしい。俺の欠席は手抜きじゃねえ。特権ってやつだと言ったろ。おいおい、あれだけ説明したのに全然分かってなかったのか？しょうがねえ。まず座れ。いいか、その字。常人を上回る英気と幸運を兼ね備えながら、座することなく精進してきた俺でも、ここを卒業しちまえば裸一貫になっちまうんだぞ。ひでえ話だ。てめえの家柄を活用できんのはあと1年ちょいだけなんだぜ。これの一体どこが羨ましいってんだ。普通一生続くはずの親の七光ってやつが俺の場合はたった3年間しかねえんだからな。となりゃ有効なうちに使っておかなきゃもったいなくておちおち眠ってもいられねえ。ああ、嫌だ嫌だ。何が嫌かって、バカどもとガン首並べて金勘定するのが嫌だ。たく、嫉妬渦巻く大人の世界じゃ、俺のオブラートみたいな心なんてパックリ飲まれて溶けちまうこと受け合いだろうさ。
While he must have been joking, Sojiro took his tone to be completely sincere. He listened as he envied Tokimura's ability to be so open about his feelings. From his frame of reference, there was nothing he could do but take Tokimura for his word. When...
あら、そんな権利なんて留年すればいくらでも引き延ばせるのに。なんなら協力してあげましょうか。この私でよろしければ。
This frosty statement distorted the warm atmosphere of the room, and it also marked the abrupt end of Tobimaro Sakichi's reign there.
いや、いい。自分の夢は自分の力だけで叶えようと常々思ってるんだ。
そなら今みたいな恥ずかしいこと力説しないでね。廊下にまで聞こえてたわよ、副会長さん。
Not missing a beat, Aoko Aozaki stepped inside the room. Her dark hair was slightly disheveled as if she had been running. The gaze missed the sitting Sojiro entirely and was focused completely on the ranting vice president.
頑張れ、飛び丸。
Sojiro quietly got up to head back to his
割
classroom.
と白状なんだな、お前。
Tobimaro grumbled in front of Aoko.
だって時間がない。
だから、そういうのが白状とだな。
Cut himself off. Aoko briefly shifted her gaze to Sojiro.
時間がないのは私も同じよ。あなたにはいつも振り回される。
Not a complaint. It was her honest opinion.
なんだ要件は総十郎かよ。
安心なさい。あなたにもあるから。
ん
Her eyes shimmered with a murderous glee. It was slightly different from the more sullen gaze to which Tobimaro had grown accustomed. For whatever reason, Aoko's mood seemed worse than usual. Ah, boy. Great. What did the teacher ask her to do this time?
しずきくん、あなた、走るのと泳ぐの、どっちが好き？ダメよ。一つにして。
What, is this for like a sports festival or something? What's going on?
泳ぐ方かな。けど、どうして？
あなたがまだどこの部にも所属してないから。
Oh. I forget. Is it like you have to join? I don't think you have to, right? I guess maybe she's just doing it for him. Succinct reply. One that left no room for Sojiro to object.
うちの校則読んだわよね。生徒はただ一人の例外もなく、部活動に参加しなくてはならない。
Is that true that it's like some schools you have to participate in club activities? I actually don't know, because I'm not saying like it's all a lie or it's all true because I see it in anime. I'm actually kind of curious because I actually don't know. I mean, in American school, or at least where I am, I never saw that it's like you have to be in a club. I mean, I always chose to, but never saw like people needed to. So I'm not exactly sure. But if that is a thing, I'd be curious.
正直どうかと思う校則だけど、決まりは決まりだから。
そんな無茶な。悪いけど、そこまでの暇はないんだ。
Right, because he works, right? Because he has to pay for everything himself. So wouldn't he be an exception to the rule then?
でしょうね。
I guess they don't care. An equally terse response. She was typically to the point, but Tomorrow got the impression that she was expressly trying to keep her interaction with Sojiro short. They stared at each other in silence. Tomorrow stood breathlessly silent on the sidelines until Sojiro broke the impasse.
青崎は分かってると思ってた。あ、いや違う。きっと分かっているんだな。うん。だから、そこが強いんだろうね。
Wait, what? What the hell is that supposed to mean? I'm confused. Like, I'm not like, oh, this is interesting, but it's like, I'm just genuinely, what is that supposed to mean? Sojiro stood up from his seat. He walked past Aoko into the hallway. Like, I'm trying to read in between the lines here, but honestly, I don't know what he's talking about.
それ、明日からでいいんだろ？
しずきくんがいいならね。
Did his best to force a smile before leaving the student council room. What was that about? Just kind of a strange interaction. While watching the events play out, Tobimaro found himself deeply impressed with Sojiro. He could tell from Aoko's behavior that she was trying to get a rise out of Sojiro. Sojiro, on the other hand, didn't react. Heedless of what Aoko was doing, he simply went on his way. To Tobimaro, it was hard to believe that Sojiro had not taken offense. From his point of view, Sojiro's poker face had been the performance of a lifetime.
いや、でも何が強いんだろうな、会長。
He looked at Aoko curiously. Aoko stood completely still, staring at the wall. She's like, "Damn it! I thought this break him today."
青崎
Oh my god. See, I love Aoko's expression. They're just so genuine. It's like she tries to hide it, but it's like she's not good at hiding it forever. She had no response.
おい、会長。青崎。青子女子。おい。
さいはね、青を呼ぶな。
Oh my god. Her fury echoed across the student council room. It was a beautiful sound that could be heard into the hallway of Tobimaru's ran from earlier, pale in comparison.
やかましい。うるせえのはてめえも同じだ。
Perhaps their shouting was still ringing in his ears, or he was just the type to answer a shout with a shout. But he shot back reflexively.
そんなんだから男の一人もできねえんだよ、お前は。ほら、
no!
目覚めたか？
You can't say that, dude. That never ends well. Dude, you should know that line just raises like 10 death flags.
別にあなたの声は聞こえてた。煩わしかったから無視してただけよ。黙らせるの面倒だし。
てめえな、俺はカカなんかか、おい。
コミュニケーションが成立しない点で言えば、あっちのがまだ上品よね。
ほう、その心は？
お互い何を言ってるかわからない。意味のない会話なら、音声みたいなものでしょ。
Based on that statement, Aoko must have been under the impression that dating was the act of two lovers whispering nonsense to each other.
問題は、お前にとって意味のある会話ってのがどの程度の価値かってことだが、まあいいか。いつになくきついじゃねえか、青崎。
ちょっとね。今愛嬌を振りまける状況じゃないのよ。
不思議だ。この2年間で青崎の愛嬌なんてものは見たことがないんだが。
飛び丸のいない時に振りまいてたの。
そうかよ。やっぱりあの時のこと恨んでるんだろ、生徒会長さんはよ。
There was only one thing that Tobimaru could be talking about. The incident that occurred in the student council room this past summer. Wait, what?
ずいぶんと昔の話じゃないそれ。
Wait, what? Oh, that.
そんなどうでもいいことに容量を使っちゃもったいないわよ。ただでさえ脳の
Right, the thing he was talking to Sojiro about? This conversation wore on, Aoko's murderous aura began to fade, and her sharp gaze gave way to a calming demeanor rarely seen from her. It's quite possible that nobody besides Tobimaru had ever seen this side of her at the school before.
ご忠告どうも。俺だってあんなことは忘れてよ。ただ、さっきその字がバカなこと言いやがるから、つい思い出しちまったんだよ。くそ、考えてみりゃ場所まで一緒じゃねえか。
ちょっと待って。あの話、彼にしたの？
ああ、俺がてめえになんで会長になんか立候補したのよ、 あんたは副会長って顔でしょ、どう見ても。なんて挑発されて、生涯最高の月をしたところまでな。
Damn. Akoleta sighed. Said relieved that Tobimaro had not told Sojiro the rest of the story. Wait, there's more? No, now I need to hear it. Even she wasn't sure why.
あれは確かにびっくりするぐらいいい月だった。思わず体が反応しちゃったもんね。ところで私そんなこと言ったっけ？
言った。しかも俺が保健室に運ばれたのをこれ幸いと強引に副会長にしやがった。
Since that day, Tobimaro had served as the vice president to the person who usurped the role from him.
いいけどな。俺に会長職合わねえって分かったし、副会長の方が性に合ってやがる。会長なんてやってたら危うく親父みたいな野郎になってただろうしよ。
プライド高い分できることは全部やるからね、飛び丸は。会長職に先進するあまり気がついたら優等生になってたあんたも見たかったけど。
やめてくれ、ゾッとしねえ。猫かぶるのはお前だけで十分だ。
Tobimaro shooed Aoko away like an annoying pest. It was a typical example of crude verbal abuse they exchanged on a daily basis, with a wittiness that only two longtime foes could manage.
で、なんでそんな話したのよ。
は？
半年前のここの事件を。
ああ、そっちか。いや、あいつがバカなこと口走ったからなんだが。
He stopped himself before he said anymore. He knew better than to accept the fact that Sojiro had a thing for Aoko. Everyone knew guys didn't sell each other out like that, even if it was all in truth or misunderstanding.
それより、さっきのはないんじゃねえのか、青崎。お前、宗十郎に恨みでもあんの
？7日以上前の恨みを引きずるほど私はお姫様じゃないつもりだけど。
He wanted to retort that she was more like a queen than a princess. But he'd come to know her too well over the past 2 years to dig himself into a hole like that.
恨みはないね。それにしちゃ、恋に喧嘩売ってただろ。なんでだ？確かに調子の狂うやつだが、あいつほどいいやつはいねえだろうに。おい待て、なんだその足元のシロアリを見るかのような態度。
Wow. Okay, that's a new expression.
別にあんたまでそのセリフを言うのかって心底から見避け果てただけよ。
Wow, she's like, you poor human being.
まあいっか。いいやつ、いい人、結構じゃない？喧嘩を売る相手としちゃ上等だわ。誰も憎んであげないなら私ぐらいそうしないとね。
しないとねって、お前。
He couldn't follow her reasoning at all. He was used to Aoko's erratic trains of thought, but hating Sojiro for no reason seemed needlessly cruel. His friend's naive and innocent face came to mind, and then he blurted.
けど、宗十郎は青崎が好きなんだぜ。それでも嫌いなのか？
Wow. Damn. Great job. His vow of silence had lasted not even 2 minutes.
いや、今のはな、青崎。
Great, man. And here I was thinking you were being a good wingman. Now you do this? Come on, bro. He tried to take it back, but it was too late. She had heard his words loud and clear. All he could hope for now was that she would take it well.
そりゃそうでしょ。好き嫌いは誰にもあるし。
Huh.
けどこればかりはね。彼が私と仲良くしたいって言っても、私は嫌いなんだから仕方ない。
Wow. Stone cold Aoko. Seriously. I respect the hell out of that. She's not hesitating or being flustered. She's like, nah, that's just how it is. Deal with it. Tomorrow found himself filled with indignation at how detached Aoko was being.
いや、そんなお友達感覚の話じゃなくてだな。そういう好き嫌いじゃなくて、その字は本気でお前に惚れてるって言ったんだよ。
Dude, stop it. You were trying to take it back. What the hell? He shouted, his face the embodiment of sincerity. Aoko gave him a blank stare. It was the face of someone who had lost their wallet hours earlier and was only just realizing it now. The first incident doubted how she's in the reality of the situation. But an incident is all it was.
Ne?
She answered coolly. As if she had no idea why it should matter to her at all.
出ときたか。鬼でもなけりゃ悪
Damn,
魔だな。お前って女は。よかろう。聞こえなかったのならもう一度言ってやる。
Tamaru gave up any pretense of masculine solidarity and fired back hard.
いいわよ、そんなの。つまらないもの。
Yeah, I mean, again, dude, it's like, what's that gotta matter with her? I mean, if she had feelings for him, that'd be one thing, but if she doesn't, how is that supposed to make her change her thoughts? Especially since, given what she had to deal with for basically her whole freshman year, why would this change anything? Just because it's another guy saying after so long, it doesn't change that it's just the same thing every day. She ruthlessly cut him off. Like, look, I'm just trying to think from her perspective. It's like, to be fair, from what we've heard, or at least part of what we heard, I don't see why this would change anything, really. Like, I get he's the transfer student and everything, but so what? It's not like she's childhood friends with him. It's not like she has a thing for him already, too. So, why should it matter? At least, not that much, because, again, like I said, considering what she had to deal with in her freshman year, there's kind of no point in thinking it would just rock the boat again all of a sudden. Thinking of the boys who still harbored unrequited love for Aoko, Tomorrow tries hard to come up with a name befitting the demoness in front of him.
なるほどね。それでさっきの話に結びつくわけだ。へえ、柄にもなく友達思いじゃない？殿下。
Damn, that sneer. I definitely get the feel of Tamamo from her. I don't know why, but it just feels similar.
ってことは、聞くも無残、語るも無情っていう私の噂話、教えてあげたんでしょ？
She laughed as a faint smile adorned her face. Tomorrow repented to God, wherever he or she may be, for ever bringing up Aoko's love life.
飛び丸にしちゃ正しい判断ね。
Oh boy.
褒めてあげるから、どんな話をしたのか聞きたいな、私。
She was smiling, but Tomorrow wished she'd at least try to hide the bloodlust.
代表作とここでの事件を2つばかり。
こういう時、噂話って便利よね。うるさいのを追っ払ってくれるから。でも、そんな話を考えなしで広めたら大変だから、これからは気をつけてね。
Had this been in writing, the chumly sweet tone of her words could have been signed with a heart. Whoever angry or happy, Aozaki spoke in a deliberately cute manner when she was in a heightened emotional state. Tomorrow took note of this new discovery, aware that it did nothing to get him out of the situation.
ああ、俺も命は惜しいからな。口はもう滑らねえよ。けどよ、青崎。本気で宗十郎が嫌いなのか？
He knew that it was a topic he would be better off avoiding, but he tried asking anyway. The bonds between men at times shine more beautifully than a pearl.
まあ、好きじゃないから嫌いっていうわけじゃないけど、私がだからダメなのね、きっと。
Perhaps to placate Tobimaro, Aoko paused in contemplation before she answered. Giving it a moment without immediately blurting out a response meant that not even he could complain.
そうか。ま、そういうことならしょうがねえか。何しろ、 綺麗さっぱり感情論だ。お互い理由もなく好きと嫌いじゃ手を貸す隙間もねえわけだし。
Thinking that would be the end of it, Tobimura looked up toward the ceiling and silently apologized to Sojiro. However, his final sentence appeared to have piqued Aoko's interest.
待って、今のどういう意味？
Her faux cheer had vanished. Failing to pick up on this, Tobimura answered nonchalantly.
いや、あいつもさ、青崎に惚れた理由がわからないなんて言いやがってな。ああ、違ったか。理由なんてないなんて意味だったかな。
理由はないですって。
ああ、なんで俺がいくらお前の噂話をしても無駄だった。天津さえなんて言ってたかな。そうそう、理由はどうあれ青崎の心配は本物なんだとか、自分はそれで助かってるとか、俺なんかには言えないセリフだったのは確かだね。どうにも。
I don't know if I should be surprised at how she looks right now, or if I should be scared, because she's looking pretty intimidating to me. Her
は
eyes
っ
look
きり
pretty
してんのは
fiery.
他の野郎どもと違って噂を聞いても手を引く素振りなんざみじんもなかったってことだけ。
Tobimura finally noticed the shift in Aoko's demeanor. She was scowling at the wall. Wait, what? Oh my god. She glared at it in silence like it was her worst enemy. This continued for several minutes. She's like, great. Then we have more in common than I thought.
何それ？さっきといいそれといい、どこかで聞いたようなことばっかり。
Oh wow, actually showing shaking for like her emotional state. I like that touch. Oh my god, she actually gonna boil over? What the hell? I didn't think it was gonna be real. So great was her ire that the gnashing of her teeth was audible. Irritation seethed until it reached the point that Aoko forgot Tobimura was even in the room. He looked heavenward for forgiveness, sensing that he'd brought upon perfect calamity down upon Sojiro's head.
少しわかったわ。なんであいつが気に食わないのか。
Tobimura looked away as if to indicate that he'd rather not know, but Aoko ignored him and began to grumble venomously.
あいつ、私が嫌いなやつと言動が似てるのよ。
Oh, Alice.
誰彼構わずいい人扱いされるところとか、妙にふわふわしてるところとか、いちいち私の勘に触るところとか。
Glancing idly up at the clock, Tobimura thought the last part just sounded like misplaced anger. And that was that. 1 o'clock had come and gone.
わかった。もういい。この話をした俺が悪かった。で、俺に用ってのはなんだよ。言っとくけど、もう授業始まってるぜ。
え？授業って、なんで、いつ？
いや、さっきその字が出てってから、青崎がギラーンって壁に睨んでた時に、チャイムが鳴ったんだよ。いいのか、生徒会長。5次元目ばっくれて。
いいわけないでしょ！なんで黙ってんのよ、あんたは！
She looked like she was on the verge of tears as she shouted and pulled at his necktie. Raised his hands in mock surrender, gesture reserved only for the true victor.
蚊の方がエレガントなんて言いやがった仕返しだ。思い知るがいい。男の純情を踏みにじったり焼き殺したりするエリート悪魔め。
相変わらず細かく根に持つ男。言動には言動で返しなさいよね、卑怯者。
She tied. Oh, my bad. She tightened his necktie around his neck with a yank. The vice president smiled a thuggish grin as if her reaction made his victory that much sweeter.
お前の古典が破滅に向かっているのは周知の事実。 そして A 組の5次元目は言うまでもない藤代のばあさん。青崎のこと嫌ってるしな。
Okay. So that's why she was scared about missing fifth or being late for fifth period. Damn. Fujishiro had one of the longest tenures at the school, so it was only natural she would be in charge of teaching the classics.
さあ、こんなところで俺のネクタイを引っ張る余裕があるのなら、急いで自分の教室に立ち返るがいい。情けだ。別に止めはしねえよ。
くそ、あんたなんかにはめられるなんて。このまま死んでしまえ。
She choked him even harder with his necktie. As Uka put words into action, mercilessly strangled Tobimaru, he saw his life flash before his eyes.
いや、待て待て、本当に死んじまうだろうが。今ならまだ間に合う。10分過ぎたら遅刻から欠席扱いだぞ。
Aku glanced up at the clock. Still only 7 past 1. Her route was from the student council room to the second floor, or on the second floor, to the Class A classroom on the third floor. If she ran, she could make it.
命拾ったわね、飛び丸。
Ako clicked her tongue disappointedly. What disturbed Tobimaru was that it didn't sound like an empty threat.
あと放課後、ここにいて。
Boy.
頼みたいことがあるのは本当なんだから。
Finally all alone, Tobimaru closed the open door, locked it, and slumped into a chair.
たく。ああしてる分には楽しいやつなんだけどよ。青崎は。
Weather outside was beautiful. The sunlight waned early into winter. For long, daylight would fade, and the unheated student council room would grow colder and colder. All the good equipment, like the heater, had ended up in the main office, so I had no choice but to settle in for a chilly afternoon.
こんな天気が続けばいいんだがね。天気予報じゃ、また雲行き怪しいって話だが。
After a somewhat suggestive monologue, Tobimaru's mind drifted. He idly wondered to himself whether Sojiro was an overcast day or a clear day sort of guy. No answers came. Weird thing to think about, but sure. Okay, good. It's not the end of the chapter yet. I was thinking, like, this would be a pretty short chapter. School day over, Sojiro headed straight to his job. While the school had approved his jobs at a Chinese restaurant and fish market in Misaki Shopping District, there was other work he hadn't mentioned to them. That wasn't because he knew that they would complain at him working too many, but rather because of the illicit nature of one job in particular. Oh, does this have to do with that one job he was talking about? They couldn't miss or something? Great, what is it? The day's workplace was a pachinko parlor in front of Yashirogi Station. Sojiro changed out of his school uniform into a black faux tuxedo uniform and began cleaning the storefront. Oh, a pachinko. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be a problem for a student to work at, right? Because if I remember, pachinko, it's kind of like a slot machine, right? Is that kind of what it is? I forget. I might actually want to look that up. Give me a second. I actually want to check. What is a pachinko parlor? Yeah, usually also feature a number of slot machines. These venues operate similarly to casino. Yeah, I was like, it's kind of like casinos where it's like the slot machines. Okay, yeah, I would definitely see that. I definitely would understand why he can't talk about this job, because this is definitely for clientele and definitely more older clientele. I don't think this would be okay, because wouldn't there also be like smoking allowed, and there's like they could potentially serve alcohol? I don't know, because like I know casinos would have it, but would pachinko parlors do that? I don't know, because If it's mainly a place with just slot machines, I don't know if you could at risk of breaking the machine. Well, either way, it's not a good place for a student to be working. That's for sure. You had to wear a tux too. Yoshirogi was a jewel in Misaki City, a busy place with a vast assortment of commercial settings and shopping arcades. Where there were people en masse, there were products made en masse. A romantic might describe it as a place of joy. A realist would note the free enterprise. A cynic would point out all the garbage. Local authorities had attempted to beautify Yashirogi, but there was one basic tenet of society they could not overcome. This establishment was the embodiment of that rule. Businesses such as this attracted the dregs of society, and as such, front of the parlor had to be cleaned several times a day. Soldiers stood outside in the winter cold, sweeping used-up cigarette butts, picking up discarded flyers, and tossing empty cans at the trash. Oh, right, yes, because I was saying, like, smoking area and stuff. Studying about it must have reminded him of Mountain Life, because he cheerfully finished the job with ease. I forget, would this have been before they made, like, smoking areas, like, little rooms and stuff like that for it, or no? I don't know when that would have been, but... yeah, again, just even more of a reason why he should have mentioned this job. After making sure the storefront was acceptably clean, he returned to the inside of the parlor where it was nice and warm. Blinding lights, deafening sound. Yep, definitely sounds like what I would imagine a pachinko parlor would be. And the impressive odor of tobacco assaulted him as he passed through the parlor on his way to the office.
店長、外回りの掃除終わりました。
はい、ご苦労様。それでいいかな。2階の40番台のお客さんの様子見てきてくれない？どうも懐に飲んでそうなんだよね。
His boss was a good-natured man who used to work a desk job. The reason he employed someone like Sojiro, even though he was clearly a student, was not because he admired him for working his way through school. It's because all the other employees were scary and intimidating, he wanted at least one employee who was not. Yeah, because I mean, to be fair, it's like, not really many people would normally work in a pachinko parlor. And I mean, you would kind of need, like, to have, like, some form to make it feel like you couldn't just weasel your way out of, like, cheating or trying to run away from, like, paying your amounts and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like, you do need to at least be someone inviting to know it's like, you are welcome here.
いいんですか？トイレの掃除まだですけど。
いいのいいの。なんかね、カメラの死角にいるんでいまいち確証取れないの。
Oh, will this finally be a new character we see, or will it just be Alice?
そうちゃん、今のところ的中率 100% でしょ。様子見てきてくれないかな。
Well, actually, would Alice even be allowed here? Well, then again, I don't know the rules if it's like you could enter, but whether you play or not, that's where you'd be restricted, but I don't know. I guess it just depends. From there, Sojiro put away his cleaning equipment and headed upstairs. It was a typically large-scale pachinko parlor with 2 floors. It prided itself on being a local establishment that was satisfied with taking the locals' money little by little without resorting to exploitative means. But regardless of the parlor's intentions, its customers were not so scrupulous. Among them were casual players, professional gamblers, and cheaters looking to profit by exploiting whatever loopholes they could find. Of particular prevalence was a device developed in the mid-80s that could disrupt the machine's circuitry from the outside and make it much easier to get what was called a 777 jackpot. Right, yeah, because I remember it's like, it's not necessarily like hacking, but you could bug a system to do that. I think I do remember, I used to hear that there was a case like that, but I don't really remember too much about it. I just think I remember hearsay from it, just because like I heard something on the news, but that was about it. As much as the parlor wanted to deny these cheaters entry, it needed to present hard evidence of cheating or risk losing customers. Particularly in the service industry, innocent until proven guilty was not a rule taken lightly. Yeah, because again, it's like, you can't enforce the rules until after it's been broken. Sometimes the loopholes were rules, it's like, they're there, but they don't hold meaning until action has been taken. As a result, they could only punish the customers they conned the act. The cheaters were known as Gotoshi, a slice of society which Sojiro knew nothing about. What he did know was that they were inconveniencing his employer and violating their rules. He went upstairs. The radio and game machine noise or sounds on the second floor were quieter than the cacophony downstairs. There were 100 game machines on the ground floor and over 80 on the second. But while there were some empty seats here and there, it was a solid evening turnout. The machine mentioned by his boss was in the center aisle. Sojiro nonchalantly leaned back against the wall and watched the customer hit the jackpot over and over again. The second he saw her, his gut told him she was not cheating. He still was not sure what made someone a master swindler, but if it meant they were special, this woman certainly fit the description. It was almost as if he could feel luck emanating from her. As the customers looked on, she silently turned the handle again and again. She appeared older than Sojiro. She wore a green form-fitting one-piece dress. Her stockings covered her legs. Her slender legs were gracefully crossed, and her elegance suited a painting better than a casino. Dark reddish hair was cut short in a bob, perfectly framing her stylish spectacles and crimson lips. Truth be told, something was off about this picturesque beauty ringing the jackpot over and over again. 4 boxes worth of pachinko balls sat at her feet, and her winning streak showed no sign of abating. She looked bored as her slender porcelain fingers lifted a long cigarette to her lips. Oh, okay, yeah, so maybe this is a new character. Just as the thought crossed his mind, her gaze turned toward the wall and Sojiro. Huh? Suddenly a chill ran down his spine. He reflexively covered his mouth to keep from shrieking. Oh, right! Yeah, something about like a flamethrower and then someone with a naginata? Ah, okay. So she was there that night. Okay. And maybe she sensed it like it's the presence from last night. Okay. Is she a magus or something? Acting on pure instinct, Sojiro took off running. Oh shit! Headed straight downstairs, desperate not to be on the same floor as her. Well, I mean, to be fair, he could already sense she was dangerous, so better to act on that instinct. He would have run straight out the door, but for his obligation to his job.
店長、早退します。それと、2階の人は問題ないです。
He tried to keep his composure as he spoke, jamming his school uniform into a paper bag as he ran out the parlor. Cloudy weather brought the shadow of night over Yashirogi as he ran through the shopping arcade toward the station. He shot up the long staircase like an arrow, quickly pulled his train pass from his wallet, and passed through the ticket gate. The ticket gate was crowded with people standing around, walking and talking. The station attendant by the automatic ticket machine had an unpleasant look on his face. It was now a familiar, comforting hustle and bustle around him. Just another day in the city. Nothing like what he witnessed the night before. I mean, I respect Sojiro for this, you know, because most people would be stupid and be like, nah, it's just my imagination, or maybe they won't do it in a public setting or too many people, but it's like, that's not necessarily the case. Like, I know they try to keep magic a secret, but if she's from the underground, then there's a chance that it wouldn't matter to her if she risks exposing her identity or the existence of other Magi. So, if anything, it is smart of him to act on instinct and just leave. You don't know what would happen. He could finally breathe again. The momentary rush of relief brought him to an abrupt stop. He nervously turned around. There was no way that dangerous individual could be behind him. He couldn't think of a good reason for why he'd fled so desperately. As far as he could remember, he hadn't even seen the threat's face long enough to form an opinion about her. Sojiro gave himself a good slap on the cheek to pull himself together and quickly made his way down the platform. Unfortunately, the next train was 10 minutes away, and panicking would do him no favors. He quietly found an empty seat and sat down. He took another deep breath. He was surrounded by people waiting for the train just like he was, and no sign of anyone pursuing him. His head finally cleared up and he assured himself that he was overthinking things. Though he was surprised at how heavy his shoulders felt.
疲れてるのは分かってる。自分の体のことだし。
Sojiro sighed at his greater than expected fatigue. He certainly struggled since coming down for the mountains, but in retrospect, it could have been worse. Physically, he was probably holding up fine. He was much less confident in his mental state. The city in the mountains could not have been more different. He had been slow to recognize the differences and adapt. Acclimation was simple enough. Humans were nothing if not adaptable. Even without any effort, one would learn to adjust over time. Recognizing the challenges had been the hard part.
そりゃとにかく難しいことだらけだし
Sojiro grumbled a complaint he'd never uttered before. To be honest, he was still afraid to wander around town. So many things city people took for granted that Sojiro had yet to grasp. So no wonder that this never-ending chain of surprises would wear on him.
そっか疲れてるのは体じゃないのか
Right, because that's the thing. It's like, physically, he could be fine, but I was wondering, it's like, this is all gonna be, like, more than just culture shock. Like, I know the difference between, like, culture shock, or I at least know what culture shock would feel like. Like, I've at least been to at least a handful of different countries to know that it's like, there are definitely some things that would take you by surprise, but it wouldn't be too much that it's like, it really impacts you that badly, but I was wondering for him, like, not only with that, but just civilization in general, it would be even more so, but it really is. Okay. He's just been good at hiding it.
だからあんな幻を見る
I see. That's why I wanted to talk to Tobamaru about it, because he wanted to think that maybe that's the case, right? That it's just the exhaustion of all of this getting to him. And, I mean, it's reasonable. If he could at least have reassurance from someone, it'd be at least a bit easier on the guy. He muttered to himself and shook his head. That which exists, exists. Such was the way of all things. Tobamaru had called it hallucination. Sojiro knew what he saw was real. The city was a magical kingdom compared to the mountains. If there were real magicians secretly living here, it should have been no surprise at all. The thought alone made his legs tremble. It took him a moment longer to realize that they were quivering out of fear. He had feared the unnatural ever since he encountered a wild bear on a mountain path as a child.
いやあれはこんなもんじゃなかったっけなりふり構わず泣き叫んだもんなあの時は
Sojiro smiled a little as he recalled his traumatic childhood memory. Anyone would have fainted at the sudden appearance of a growling beast that towered over 6 feet tall. The monster in the movie that Sojiro saw not 2 days ago was the equivalent of a cuddly stuffed animal when compared to a wild mountain creature's. He was reminded that he'd faced far worse before. His ordeal now was something he could endure.
そうだよな今の問題はちらっと聞こえた最後のセリフか捕まえて始末するっていうのは
I see. That's probably what his senses were feeling. He was caught up in or he had accidentally seen something he wasn't supposed to. An attempted assassination. I see. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if there was even the chance of him getting involved in that, it would be better to think that your life is just at risk now. Because, again, as an assassination, you're trying to keep it on the low. If he could be a potential, like, anomaly in the job, then you'd get rid of anyone in your way. No loose ends. Especially for a professional, too. Because sounds like maybe they were reporting to someone. Face value, the meaning was obvious. But the implications were simply too frightening to contemplate seriously. Perhaps he misheard the words, or perhaps the speaker had misspoken.
都会のルール誰かがきっと罰しに来る
Even as he said it, the idea didn't feel quite real. It was hard to imagine that it applied to him. Sojiro breathed in and closed his eyes. Sufficient dim putting the illuminated cityscape out of sight and out of mind. But now he resolved to put last night's events behind him. When he opened his eyes, his breathing had calmed.
それでさ青崎を殴りつけようとして結局どうなったんだ飛びも
The question suddenly popped into Sojiro's head. He decided he would ask next time and stood up from his chair. A long circuit light blazed by and announced the arrival of the next train. Oh, that's it. That was it. Okay. Shit. I honestly did not think it was gonna end there. But cool. Yeah, let's save that here. Yes. Thank you. Okay, I think that'll be the end of the stream for now because I kind of want to save this for next time because we've already gone through it. Oh right, I can hit backspace. I forgot because I was like, how do I exit out of this menu? There has to be a button, and I was like, I don't want to accidentally press something random, so I thought maybe backspace is the simple back answer, but it is. All right. Yeah, I think I'll end the stream here because this is a separate chapter entirely. At least I'm assuming, and this will be like chapter 3. So I kind of want to leave that for next time. Who knows? Maybe I'll somehow stream a bit more of this later tonight. Because I'll be honest, it feels like it's a bit short of a stream. I know I have it scheduled for 2.5 hours, and it's at least close to 2 hours 15. But I don't know. I'm curious about this. I want to see kind of what's going on here. There's some missing pieces. We haven't really gotten the full detail to what happened in the night. I'm wondering if this night's like this is just the end of that same day, or maybe we'll see exactly what he saw that night. I'm assuming it probably would be the former, considering it kind of skipped over that detail in the lat or earlier, but I don't know. The latter would be interesting. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Because, like I said, the other issue is I don't know what my schedule will be like for next week, like what I'll stream when. So, depending on that, it would kind of be nice if I could do an extra stream of this just ahead of time, but we'll see. I'll consider it. I'll consider maybe doing an extra one of this tonight. Because, like I said, I'm getting very invested in the story. I really like these characters. They're not too transparent. They're actually very enjoyable to watch their lives go through. Because again, it's just in a normal middle school setting, or not middle school, high school setting, but there is that bit of mystique here and there, and I want to see more of that mystique part, and I'm hoping that's what we're gonna see here. But I don't know. But hey, we're already 2 streams down, and already at 2 parts. That's great. I don't know how many parts this is actually going to be, because let me check. Yeah, so this will be tea time 3. This is tea time 2. So, yeah, there would be a part 1, part 2, part 3. Yeah, I'd have to see. Can I see the archive? Hold up. Oh, okay. Chapter 1.5. Okay, back. Oh, okay, so I actually can't go back to... Oh, okay, yeah, let's check this. Whoa, wait, what, what is this? What is this? I don't know what this is. What? Yeah, because chapter 1... Yeah, we went through this. We did just go through chapter 2. There's a 1.5? Oh my god. Okay, now I have to see this. What the fuck? Bro. Wait, let me see what happens if I go here. Does it just put me back to the main... Oh, it does. It does. It does. It does. It does. Okay. Yeah, so let's go to the archive screen real quick. Oh my god. I actually have to go look here in the archive for extra stuff. No way. Because I was wondering, it's like, are we not going to talk about anything? And like I was saying, who knows? Maybe Alice is here in the story. But wow, okay, that is some extra stuff. Shit. I can't believe I almost missed this. Would they even tell me about it, or would I actually have to like come back here and see if there's like these 1.5 chapters? I'd assume so, right? Because again, that's the thing. When it comes to visual novels, there will be like extra routes or extra things you just have to do to unlock certain parts of the story. And I was wondering, even though this is a visual novel, I don't know if there'd be other paths necessarily, because I know there's different main characters like Alice, Aoko, and possibly Sojiro too, but it seems less kind of like choosing your heroine, like what I would assume is gonna take place in Tsukihime Remake and how it is in Fate Stay Night, the visual novel. But I was wondering if there was gonna be like there would be extra hidden lore or story that I'd be missing out, and there is. No way. And there's 4 parts. Okay, so if I had to guess, it'd probably be as long as this, because this took me like 2.5, 3 hours, and this was like 2 hours. So yeah, okay, shit. I am glad I went to check the archive, because I was like, what exactly is this archive thing going to be about? So this is going to be only filling the... No, actually, it shows that there's more shelves here. Oh, so this story is going to be like real extensive then, because I see a 3rd shelf on the bottom here. Ooh, okay. I like this. This is very cool. Okay, so yeah. Like I said, I'll see if I can stream tonight some more of Witch and the Holy Night. And if I do, we're definitely gonna check this out, because secret story that they're trying to keep from me, surely there's a reason for it. And y'all know I love me some secret, deep hidden lore, just like I do in PGR. But that's gonna be the end of the stream for today, at least hopefully for now. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'll come back to this later, and if I don't, then we'll see when I do my next stream. But anyway, let me give a huge shout out to my Twitch buddy Yuki19 for showing up this stream. It's a great chatting with you, girl. Hopefully I'll be able to catch up to one of your streams again whenever I can. Just depends on my schedule. But like I said, guys, I will be gone from Friday and Saturday, going to Otakon. Hopefully I can get an autograph from Sayu. I also saw that like Iron Mouse was there, and I accidentally forgot about the time for registering to get an autograph from her. So I'm like, shit. I mean, I'm on the wait list, but you know, most of the times when you're waitlisted, you don't really get in. So I'm not being too optimistic about that, but who knows? Maybe I'll be lucky and I can actually get a chance to meet Iron Mouse. Who knows? But anyway, if you guys did enjoy the stream but are not already following the channel, please make sure to leave a follow. Much appreciated. Check out my YouTube channel where I post the VOD. Subscribe as well. Join the Discord, you guys not already. Links to all those are on the channel. But this has been Xanthos Voice. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Or great rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. We're out.